This is my first video after my first two wisdom teeth got removed, so if I sound different, if I don't seem as excited, then there's a reason for it. But trust me, this banana bread recipe was a lifesaver as I am recovering and I was recovering, and it is super delicious, easy to make, has chocolate chips but also gingerbread spice, which gives you that Christmas feel without making something too complicated. Happy holidays, and let's dive right into how to make this delicious dessert. Now, something really special about ginger is it always works so well with desserts. I've made a gingerbread latte before, I've made gingerbread flavored creme brulee, and now this banana bread. Actually, my first banana bread recipe on this page, so that's even more exciting. Now, the first thing you want to keep in mind is the bananas and their ripeness. Try to go for overripe bananas. So when you start to see lots of black spots on the banana, when it starts to get to its sweetest point. But I was struggling with it. There was no sun out here, just a snowstorm. So I tried what I could by trying to quicken the ripening process by putting the bananas in a brown paper bag, leaving it near the window, and hoping for the best. Ripe bananas work just fine. The sweetness levels may vary. But here's where you'll notice that I'm using molasses in this recipe, and that really was so special in getting that holiday flavor, that holiday kick in this banana bread recipe. But let's not race ahead. So my oven is heating at 350 Fahrenheit and I'll be using a 9x5 loaf pan for this. So first we'll take all of our dried ingredients and mix it all together, followed by the wet ingredients, which includes butter, which I've melted down, some white sugar, some light brown sugar, which you now want to whisk until you have a nice fluffy paste-like consistency, like you see over here. Then get your bananas and mash them as much as you can. I like to start with a fork and then switch to a whisk to finish the process. You can leave some chunks in there because that's going to add a nice surprise banana bite in the final bread. Okay, then add those mashed bananas into the sugar and butter mixture, followed by some milk to help with some moistness, and then the molasses. The molasses really helps to add some depth into this recipe, and that natural sweetness is something that works really well with the gingerbread spice we looked at earlier. You can see how to make your own gingerbread spice. By the way, you just click on the link down below, and it's so much cheaper and tastier than getting it from the store. Then add in your eggs and some vanilla extract. Mix that all together until it's well combined, and then add in the flour mixture that we had earlier along with your chocolate chips. And now the key is to fold, to fold, to fold, and just fold. Resist the urge to stir it, to whisk it, because the more you work this flour, the denser and tougher the final bread will be. Just fold it until you see no more patches of dried flour. This can now go into your loaf pan, which I've greased with a bit of olive oil. You can use butter if you like. By the way, you can make this recipe with a neutral oil instead, like coconut oil or avocado oil. Now, the reasoning behind using oil versus butter is because oil is unsaturated, it is liquid at room temperature. It'll result in a moister cake. Now, to some people, that may just leave that feeling of greasiness after you have a cake made with oil instead of butter. I haven't felt that, but I also have an inkling to using butter way more. I love butter. I'm not afraid of the added flavor that comes from using butter that you won't get if you use oil. So you can just get pure, unadulterated banana flavor. Maybe like experiment, right? Make half a batch with butter, half a batch with oil, and see what you prefer if you don't know. So add that in, give it a couple of good taps against the countertop, make sure you work out any big air bubbles, and now this can go in the oven in the middle rack to finish baking. You know the banana bread is done when the center is set. And you check that by either using an instant read thermometer and seeing if the center is 200 degrees Fahrenheit, or you use the old school method, like a fork, a knife, or a skewer, stab it in the middle, and if it comes out clean with some moist crumbs, then you're good. But what I'm going to do is 15 minutes before it's done baking, about 45 minutes total time. 15 minutes before, take it out and add some more chocolate chips on the top. That'll be enough time for it to stay on the top, to not sink down and get nice and molten. And then when the banana bread is set, you can take it out, check if it's done, and then just let it cool down slightly, about 15 minutes. What that allows to do is cool it just enough that you can take it out of the pan to allow it to cool down completely. If you let it stay on for too long, the caramelization that has happened over the course of the baking may cause a lot of stickiness. You may get some crumbs stuck to the pan, and that won't be a fun experience. Same thing goes trying to take it out when it's piping hot. A bit of cool down, 15 minutes, and then try. And it came out pretty easily for me. I had to do some finagling, turn it sideways, clean the sides, but it worked out fine. You can see how clean that loaf looks. You can also keep this on the countertop to cool down completely. You don't have to put it in the fridge. Some people report that if it's in the fridge to cool down, it results in a gummier version of a banana bread and something that's not as moist and light as I want it to be. So you can again try half in the fridge for the cool down process and half outside. But I'm too impatient. So I had to have a slice right away while it was still kind of warm. And it was totally worth it. That caramelized banana, the soft molten chocolate, and the gingerbread in there, it just knocked me right out. And it made me forget that I'm about to have a wisdom tooth surgery. Because that was just a few days prior to it, so I could enjoy it without pain and then enjoy it with the pain after the surgery. I'm super happy with this. You're going to be happy with this. You can't go wrong with banana bread. And now you have a way, an excuse to make it for the holidays, because guess what? It's holiday themed. So hit the bell icon, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. See ya.